So let me tell you the story of our accidental addition to our family. This is the story of this little guy, this white ferret. As you may know, we already had a ferret named Martin. He showed up at our door. We claimed him. We tried to find his owners, but they didn't show up. So he became ours. He's a sweetheart, a darling. But over time, we started feeling that he really wanted a furry buddy, not Otis, the possum. But he would try to rub his head on Hawthorne. He would try to play with Tommy, but they wouldn't have it. So he kind of would be lonely sometimes. He had us and he loves us, and he's a sweet baby. But over time, I started thinking, I really wish he had a buddy. We would go to the PetSmart and we would see a bunch of ferrets in a pile in a tank. And we kind of felt that they were in a sad place. We felt bad for them because one blonde one would always come up to Robbie and say hi. And so I just started thinking, I wish we had a little blonde guy to play with Martin. And one day I kind of prayed inside, and I said, Lord, please let us have a blonde ferret, because ferrets are actually $400. So Robbie, there was no way he was going to buy a ferret. So I was like, Lord, we really want a free blonde ferret that Martin could be buddies with. So if we ever go on trips or anything, he could have a friend, etc. Well, what do you know, but I get this exact offer. I mean, weeks later, maybe a couple of months. And I'm flabbergasted. And Robbie was like, you prayed that? Are you serious? Like, you shouldn't have prayed that. And he wasn't so keen at first to the idea of adding just more seeming stress to our lives right now. But this little guy needed a home, and he actually was not able to be let out very often because his owner was unable to very often. As you see, he's actually sleeping on shavings, the place where he's supposed to be going to the bathroom. So for me, I already saw that picture and knew that he wasn't as safe or as happy as he could be. So both our heartstrings were pulled, and we got him yesterday. And we also renamed him because we wanted him to be ours, and we wanted him to have a new home and a new fresh start. So the start of Robbie connecting to everything was probably in naming him. Robbie named him Runar Rasmussen, a Norwegian Viking name in his family lineage. To quote Robbie, he's the Snow King of the North. Afterwards, we looked up the name. It's Old Norse. It means secret warrior. So actually, we thought it fit because he was so crazy when we got him. He was running around like a madman and just going insane. And we thought, man, this might be more work than we thought. But later we found this to be because he was usually cooped up so much, he was never let out enough. So he was just scrambling to get out. And for kicks, just to complete the name, the last name is Son of Rasmus, which ultimately means beloved, which is kind of special and ties everything together. So even though we named Martin after the Pacific Northwest animal, we decided to look up his name's meaning as well. And it comes from a Roman name, Martimus, meaning Roman god of war, and also named after a Christian saint, Martin of Tours. So we thought it was pretty cool to find out that both their names mean warrior. And so finally, after all this backstory, I'm able to tell you about yesterday. We took little Runar home, and we were kind of worried about him because he was so crazy before. So we just let him explore because he kind of had to get the crazy out. We set up his cage, and we didn't let Martin out yet. We just let him kind of be free because he was just dying to get out of his cage. Meanwhile, he was tracking literally everywhere that Martin goes. He followed all of Martin's routine trails. So Martin was, of course, dying to see him. He knew that he was there. This is the first contact they had, just kind of sniffing each other, checking each other out, and already looking like a good sign that they are interested in each other. I researched a lot online about it. At one point, Martin got really sad because I wasn't letting him out. So I let Runar out, and Martin continued to kind of be pouty, but then he kind of started, following him. And at this point, I am like, okay, they're going to meet up. But to my disappointment, they kept just like following each other's trails and missing each other and kind of hiding from each other. They didn't connect for like forever. And then Martin goes in his cage and, they're all kind of just playing around each other, but never making any contact. And I learned online that the first contact, they do fight a little bit and bite each other on the back of the neck to kind of show who's boss. And so I was expecting some kind of play like this. But so far, they're just checking each other's cages out. Martin was trying to get into Runar's hammock, and it was pretty funny because I thought he would make it, but he didn't. He literally was slipping out and falling, so I had to actually catch him. And that's why my phone dropped. Runar was once again just, following Martin's trails, and Martin was following his trails. And I'm just like, you guys are never gonna meet up with each other. I don't understand. This is ridiculous. Do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, oh, no, not yet, almost. And I was just so impatient. But here's the first moment that they kind of, quote, accidentally run into each other. And it was well, and I'm like, okay, here's the frisky biz that I saw online. And here you see they start their little playfulness of greeting each other and their fight. And I was like, yep, the internet was right. I'm so glad that I researched. They actually tried to bite each other on the neck. First, Runar got Martin on the back of the neck, and I kind of separated them. And then Martin got him back, and he chewed his back of his neck and was like, yeah, I'm just as tough as you. And they literally kind of came to an equal point. And that's just about as much as they did. And I was like, Martin, I have never heard you make those noises. And then after this, Martin got pretty tired. He went over to a corner and kind of slid down like a sad dog. And I was like, Martin, are you okay? And his heart rate was up, and he'd kind of had, an exciting time. And so I was like, oh, little buddy. I played with him later by himself so he could know he was not abandoned. But yeah, for the rest of the day, they had some cute moments. Martin would rub his face on his fur, and kind of like he used to try to do with the cats. He just wanted to rub up on the cats and play. Runar was still getting out his wild energy, and for some of the time, Martin felt like he was being a little bit ignored, so he would get sad from time to time. But I'm like, okay, buddy, don't worry. Runar's going to come around at some point, I promise. At one point, Runar was trying to get into Martin's bed with him, and I don't know what Martin did or said, but he was like, you are not going to sleep with me. Sorry. I was like, wow, Martin, good job. Kicked him out. And Runar went up in his little bunk bed, made himself at home, and I was like, oh, that's so cute. Here's a shot of this day also, where Runar was just completely interested in his own little thing. He was trying to get up on the chair. And Martin I think he just wanted to play. He would just follow him around. And they're not fighting or anything. And then he gets up on the chair and kind of smacks him on the face. And Martin gets stunned, and I'm like, oh no, I know what's happening. I know Martin so well. He's completely sad and stunned that he got ignored again. And I'm like, Martin, stop. This is so sad. But then later, they were playing together. So Martin was less sad. I mean, this is only the first day. I mean, the first day I heard on some stories on the internet that the ferrets would have been fighting for months, and they can't figure out what to do. And I'm like, okay, if they're fighting for months, I don't think they're ever going to get together. But first day, I think it was pretty good. I finally put Runar in his cage, and I got the same blanket that was in Martin's bed, replaced it from the hammock so that he could have no association with that previous home. And he finally felt safe, I think. He wanted to burrow in the blankie. He let me pet him, and he was like in nirvana. I'm like, okay, little buddy. So here are some clips from today, Sunday. And we found out that he loves to steal wallets, which is kind of fun. Martin likes to steal bath stoppers. Runar likes to steal wallets, so that's great. He met the cats through the screen. They played together, and he's just so calm. And I think it's he finally feels safe, and he feels free, he can actually walk around. And so he's really chilled out today. Today, he was so chill. Well, he was playing, but when he wasn't playing, he's just so calm. almost as calm as Martin. And then today I saw them trying to sleep together just on the very second day, Martin trying to give him a bath. It didn't last very long because Martin got fed up and he made his own little bed in my bathrobe. He's kind of like an old man compared to Runar, although they are the same age, actually. So I learned online that ferrets just have their own personalities, even though they're similar because they're ferrets, but they are their own thing. So anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time.